faithfully convey value interpreting great books from around the world.
Hello, this is Sally's Book Talk.
Today, the book we're exploring is Lifelong Kindergarten, subtitled Cultivating Creativity to the Fullest. The title Lifelong Kindergarten doesn't mean staying in preschool forever, but rather embracing childlike creativity through play and learning. This embodies the educational philosophy of author Mitchel Resnick, who named his research group the Lifelong Kindergarten. Resnick is an MIT professor, pioneer in innovative education, known as the father of children's programming, who developed youth coding tools. The Scratch programming language is the ultimate implementation of his educational vision. Resnick received the 21st McGraw Education Prize, often called the Nobel of Education, honoring his contributions. He also serves as LEGO Education's global director, the tech mastermind behind LEGO Robotics, Resnick. He hopes parents, teachers, and toy designers can learn to nurture children as creative thinkers. He also aims to help creative-minded individuals navigate our rapidly changing world. Thus emerged Lifelong Kindergarten. The book won the 2018 Prose Award for Excellence from the American Publishers Association. In this book, the author shares insights from developing Scratch and his educational approaches. Today's discussion will focus specifically on his educational methodologies. I'll explore this through two key questions. First, what exactly is creativity? What common misconceptions do people have about it? Second, how do we cultivate creativity in children? Let's begin with the first question. What is creativity? What widespread misunderstandings exist about creativity? So, what really defines creativity? Creativity is the ability to generate novel ideas, discoveries, and innovations. This might sound abstract, so let's imagine a scenario. In a kindergarten, after telling a fairy tale, the teacher brings out blocks for free play. The children attempt to build the story's castle, but their initial structure wobbles and collapses with just a few added blocks. So the kids started wondering, would stacking more blocks at the foundation and arranging them more neatly make it better? After repeated adjustments, the castle was finally built, and the kids played with their dolls inside it. Then they realized that to make the game more fun, the castle needed more supporting facilities, like wanting lawns, watchtowers, and so on. So they began a new round of expansion. In this scenario, the children listened to the story, built with blocks, adjusted repeatedly, and added new ideas. This process of expanding the block structure is what the author believes sparks creativity. Those spontaneous actions by the children are actually an excellent learning method. The author summarizes it as the creative learning spiral. Imagine, create, play, share, reflect, and reimagine, continuously spiraling upward to enhance creativity. However, many parents don't believe this type of play fosters creativity. They consider creativity too grand a concept, reserved only for specialists. Indeed, people generally hold some misunderstandings about creativity. So, to summarize, there are four main misconceptions. First, viewing creativity solely as artistic expression, painting well, playing beautiful music, or writing touching poetry. Once parents equate creativity with art, they might think, my child doesn't do art, so they don't need creativity. Therefore, the author reframes it as creative thinking, to remind parents not to limit creativity to art. It's a vital ability affecting every aspect of a child's future. The second misconception is that creativity exists only in scientists, like discovering gravity, relativity, or inventing the internet and smartphones. Only such creations that shift human understanding and advance history qualify as creativity. Ordinary people supposedly don't have it.
But the author argues creativity isn't that inaccessible. He categorizes it, calling major scientific breakthroughs Big C creativity.
The single quote stands for creativity, the first letter of the word. While ordinary people discovering something new they hadn't noticed or proposing an original idea, that's also creativity called small c creativity. For example, inventing the paperclip represents big C creativity, while finding new everyday uses for it like turning a paperclip into a mask holder hook, falls under small c creativity. Small c creativity is equally vital for ordinary people. The third misconception: the creativity strikes like sudden enlightenment. Take Mendeleev's flash of insight to tabulate chemical elements, leading to the periodic table, or Alexander Fleming accidentally discovering mold in his Staphylococcus culture dish dissolving surrounding bacteria. Though Fleming thus discovered penicillin, the author insists creativity isn't momentary inspiration. Mendeleev spent his entire life in labs studying elemental properties.
Fleming, as an army doctor witnessing soldiers die from infections, conducted extensive experiments. Ideas seeming like lightning strikes actually stemmed from grueling work.
It involves curious exploration, repeated trials, systematic investigation, embodied in Edison's adage, genius is 1% inspiration, 99% perspiration. The fourth myth: creativity is innate, requiring no teaching, just freedom to flourish. The author partially agrees. Children have innate creative potential, but notes how school or home rules suppress curiosity. For instance, forcing formulaic structures in essay writing, or mandating green grass or blue skies in art, or providing single correct answers in open discussions.
But does complete freedom without guidance unleash creativity?
The author argues creativity isn't self-sustaining genius. Even Beethoven needed master teachers like Haydn for composition guidance. Children's creativity requires cultivation, encouragement, and support from parents and teachers. All right, that concludes part 1. Creativity springs from unique imagination translated into action. It's not momentary insight, but a prolonged spiral. Imagine, create, share, reflect, reimagine. Creativity isn't just for artists and scientists. We're all born with it, but it doesn't grow stronger through neglect. It requires cultivation, guidance, and support. So since creativity can be nurtured, how do we cultivate it in children? That brings us to part 2 of our discussion. For fostering creativity, the author proposes the 4 Ps creative learning framework. The 4 Ps are projects, passion, peers, and play. Essentially, children completing projects collaboratively through playful engagement. And the driving force behind project completion is their own passion for it. Now, let's dive into each element of this framework. The first P is projects, meaning children start with a project, then learn the specific skills needed to execute it. The author personally experienced the power of projects during his childhood. One summer, he tried building a mini golf course in his backyard. He dug a hole, but noticed it kept collapsing, so he embedded a soda can inside. After rain filled the can with muddy water, cleaning became impossible. His solution: cutting off the can's bottom before embedding it, allowing drainage. Later, wanting more challenge, he added walls and obstacles to practice bank shots into the hole.
Mastering precise rebounds proves surprisingly complex.
This led him to study collision physics, velocity, momentum, energy transfer, and meticulously calculate angles. The entire project taught him more memorably than any classroom science lesson. Thus, he champions project-based learning, aligning with child psychologist Jean Piaget's views. Children transform from passive knowledge recipients into active knowledge constructors. Knowledge construction means continuously absorbing surroundings to ignite children's inner ideas. It then acts back upon the world, creating this upward spiraling process. For example, a boy named Ryan had a science project to map the food chain hierarchy in a park. He started by studying biology books to understand basic concepts, then went to the park to observe and record various plants and animals. Back home, he cross-referenced his findings with textbook concepts to build food chain relationships. Finally, he created a simple food chain pyramid using PowerPoint.
Yet, many question this project-based approach. How much knowledge can really be gained?
Might crucial knowledge be overlooked? Others argue, shouldn't we first master fundamentals before projects for better results? The author counters that this seemingly logical view ignores how children learn basics without contextual frameworks. Knowledge remains fragmented. Even after learning, children struggle to apply knowledge and often forget it. Project-centered learning provides a narrative thread to connect disparate knowledge points. And imagine painting a still life. The project is the framework, knowledge is the palette. Filling the framework with colors represents learning and applying knowledge. Children learn individual elements, their interactions, and the overall composition.
More crucially, projects teach strategies for questioning, problem solving, and idea sharing.
These strategies extend beyond academics to all life and work contexts.
But what fuels project completion?
The author emphasizes passion, the second P, as the core driver. Only passion fuels the dedication, effort, and iterative thinking needed to innovate. Like Leo, a boy who proudly demonstrated games he'd programmed himself. When discussing game features, Leo told the author it'd be more fun if his game could track scores. For example, gaining 10 points whenever the hero defeats a monster, but Leo didn't know how to implement it. So the author introduced variables, a programming concept from math, using coding blocks to track score changes. Now, Leo's score increased with each monster defeated. When seeing his dream feature work, he grabbed the author's hand, exclaiming, "Thank you! Wait till my look is mine time funny. Oh!" Would students ever grab their math teacher's hand shouting thanks after learning variables in class? Of course not, because algebra lessons introduce variables without connecting to students' passions. But Leo cared deeply about his game. That passion made him absorb all related knowledge. Passion is the fuel driving children's knowledge exploration. But knowledge is diverse. Kids can't just focus on favorites while ignoring broader learning. So how do we inspire equal passion across different subjects? Personalized learning becomes key. Many imagine personalized learning as teachers assigning tasks while students control pace and sequence. Others think software-driven personalization, first testing knowledge mastery, then targeting weak areas with customized exercises. But the author argues neither approach truly personalizes learning. First, students can't choose tasks, teachers pre-assign them. Second, software only personalizes quantifiable skills. It can't judge poetic beauty or idea depth. Creative thinking simply can't be quantified by algorithms. The author's personalized learning differs fundamentally. True personalization requires three elements: low floors, high ceilings, and wide walls. Low floors mean minimal barriers. Beginners can start effortlessly. High ceilings mean learning isn't finished in days. Children continually master increasingly complex, challenging knowledge. Wide walls refer to diverse pathways from floor to ceiling, beginner to advanced, allowing multiple approaches. Take writing. A low floor lets children start by journaling daily events while learning proper vocabulary. Simple sentence construction makes it accessible. A high ceiling could be crafting a thesis with unique insights and robust evidence. Between floors and ceilings, children enhance writing through varied methods, like extensive diverse reading to observe authors' techniques, or practicing genres, writing fiction, reviewing biographies or science books, or documenting experiments in real-time reports. Ultimately, personalized learning grants control over methods, content, and timing, plus diverse pathways to acquire knowledge and build learning systems. Having covered projects and passion, let's examine the third P, peers. Peers are indispensable in creative learning. Collaboration leverages individual strengths to tackle ambitious projects. Sharing multiplies inspiration and knowledge among participants. Collaboration manifests in many forms. The author describes three types. First, complementary, using one's strengths to offset others' limitations. One girl created a Hero Lisa series on Scratch with static images since she lacked animation skills. Another girl, loving the series, contacted her offering animation help.
Together, they spent over a year co-creating 10 animated episodes.
The second type, team-based. One proposes an idea, others join by interest, each contributing specialized skills. 13-year-old Sarah formed a team pre-Halloween to develop a haunted mansion exploration game. This project attracted over 20 Scratch members, who collectively designed 59 tasks and 393 programming scripts. The third type is feedback-based, providing evaluations for others, another form of collaborative sharing. Several children spontaneously formed a feedback studio in Scratch's online community, evaluating projects for feedback seekers and consulting on programming and design challenges. Like when a boy named Carl saw Sophia's animated flapping bird, adored it, and asked how she made it. Sophia created a detailed tutorial explaining her animation process. Hearing this, might you think pure collaboration alone suffices? No teachers or experts needed?
No, absolutely not. Teachers and experts are essential.
The hole in the wall experiment illustrates this. In 1999, Indian physicist Sugata Mitra placed an internet-connected computer in a Delhi slum with no instructions. Children soon learned to browse files and websites, play online games, and even created usage schedules. But their skills stopped there. They couldn't design, create, or express original ideas digitally. They didn't make games or build websites. This shows teachers' irreplaceable role in creative learning. Before guidance, children don't know what knowledge they lack or what to create. They need teachers as guides, like when the author consulted his physics teacher to calculate bank shot angles for his mini golf project. Effective teachers play four roles: catalyst, consultant, connector, and collaborator. Essentially, a good teacher asks insightful questions during children's creative processes. How did you come up with this approach?
Do you think we should add other features?
Here, teachers gently nudge children toward deeper exploration and reflection. Consultants solve problems and answer questions. Teachers help children overcome technical challenges or mental blocks. Connectors bring together children with different strengths for collaboration. One teacher told the author he prefers students solving problems collaboratively. If a child struggles with animation, he'll first have animation, skilled peers provide support. He only intervenes when children still can't resolve issues. Collaborators join projects as participants. Teachers can co-create with children or start projects inviting them. Now, children have great projects, passion, and peers, but how do they excel?
This brings us to the final P in creative learning: play.
We often associate play with fun, enjoyment, and happiness, but the author sees play as more. It includes adventure, challenge, boundaries, and experimentation within play scenarios. He identifies two play scenarios: playpens and playgrounds. Playpens are restricted environments limiting movement and adventure opportunities. Playgrounds offer space for exploration, experimentation, and collaboration. Take Lego Play. It can be playpen style or playground style. What does this mean? Many children meticulously follow instructions to build sets like castles or transformers. This is essentially creating self-imposed Lego playpens. Playground Lego means ditching instructions. Kids decide what to build and how to execute it. The author advocates playground-style play. Don't limit yourself, bravely push boundaries. Another characteristic of children's play: they rarely finish in one go, constantly tinkering and refining. This embodies the experimental aspect the author associates with play. For example, a child named Nikki tried building a barn with blocks, but the roof kept collapsing. Nikki first placed a central pillar, but it blocked the door. After doubling the barn's size, one pillar couldn't support the roof, so Nikki added pillars on all sides. The final barn was twice as large as originally planned. This tinkering process was chaotic and unplanned, a cycle of surprises and solutions. This highlights the difference between tinkering and planning. While planning is clear and methodical, successful tinkering involves constant revision, iterating new versions over old ones. Many educators dismiss tinkering as wasteful, disorganized learning, yielding unsystematic knowledge. But is that really true? Not at all. Though tinkering starts accidentally, it ultimately applies systematic knowledge, like Nikki finally succeeding through spatial structure principles. Through repeated failures and adjustments, Nikki gained deeper structural understanding. This is why play enhances creativity. The author calls meticulous planners pattern people, while spontaneous idea generators are story people. Through constant mistakes, story people engage their minds. Story people's tinkering mirrors science's essence, falsifying hypotheses to approach truth. Without willingness to err, how can we discover correctness? All right, that concludes the 4Ps framework, designed to nurture children's creativity through project-based learning. Children pursue projects as their main focus, discovering their passions while collaborating with peers through playful experimentation and adventure, continuously discovering new problems and solving them through exploration. Teachers serve as supporters, asking insightful questions, nudging children forward, and offering guidance when needed. In closing, the author offers 10 suggestions, each for children, teachers, and parents, and toy designers, aiming to collectively nurture creativity and fill the world with playful innovators. Summarized, children should embrace failure, start simply, and progress through graduated challenges. Teachers and parents must center children's agency, stepping back as facilitators rather than directors, guiding only when requested. The author also addresses toy designers and developers. He urges them to create toys beyond flashy electronics, ones enabling open-ended exploration and new play possibilities. As Irish poet Yeats said, education is not filling a pail but lighting a fire. Igniting this fire in youth cultivates lifelong innovators across society. Then, as sparks can ignite prairies. All right, that concludes our exploration of lifelong kindergarten. Reading notes are below the audio. See you next time.